Welcome to Season 2 of The Aggregate, narrative coatings from around the globe. It's a broadcast that hails a treasured community of designers, architects, artists, and builders from around our world who refuse to ration their plaster passion. Amid a world of static and chaotic emotions, the show honors victories won and lessons learned. It tells the true tales, rarely depicted on social media. With a neutral mind, these connective moments provide hiatus from the everyday hustle and bustle and offer a platform to recharge with our attention focused on shared skills and time-honored knowledge, ultimately curating continued creativity in everyday life. So take a second breath as New Age artisans coats the planet and changes the standards of what it means to educate, empower, and create. I'm your host, Jeremy Mistretta, along with my man on the switches, Vincent Ryan, and welcome to our show. Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for dropping in again. How's everyone doing out there? We're about ready to double down. Aggregate Season 2, Episode 2. Hope everyone's week is off to an awesome start. It's Wednesday here at New Age Artisans, and things are trucked along quite nicely. Weather's taken a nice kind of cold snap turn. Leaves just shed off the trees. Crisp crack in the air. We had our first fire last night, firewood being burned, beautiful smell throughout the neighborhoods. Work front, we're in the midst of hammering down on 6 or 7 different projects at the moment. Our blends are running smoothly over thousands of square feet of drywall in southwest Montana. Super fun to see the stoke from applicators who've joined our plaster portal and are using our materials, enjoying the fruits of our baseline content. Carl and Brianna have been in Pennsylvania this past week filming with my great friend Gabe Franklin. And we're in the midst of crafting his addition to our artist series, so stay tuned on that. This one's going to be really special. See, last week we started down in Central America with Nick Donati from Rancho Mastatal, and we discussed their awesome facility in the heart of the Costa Rican jungle. We learned about the facilities. We learned about their fantastic plaster workshop, as well as Nick's passion for the trowel. Super fun chat. This week, we're honored to sit down with Arielle Crawford of the Realness Preserve, a nonprofit for skill preservation and education based in Texas. How you doing today, Arielle?
Doing great. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Oh, our pleasure. What have you been up to so far?
This morning?
Yeah.
I was just getting the baby up and getting myself caffeinated and preparing Simon and our friend Pete, who is our apprentice and is living here, preparing them to take care of the baby. So just getting the boys rolling pretty much.
What does that entail for taking care of the baby? How old is he?
He is 11 months.
Yeah.
So they're going to take him on a walk and play with him and keep him entertained and keep him happy.
That's right. As he's obviously crawling at 11 months, probably quite well. Has he started to climb up the tables and stand free?
Oh yeah, he's everywhere. He's pretty much walking, standing. He's all over the place. So, I mean, we expected nothing less. Simon and I are both crazy and super active and really never sit down throughout the day. And I think we've passed that trait on to our son. Yeah.
Apples don't fall far from trees. Well, I can say from my experience, I mean, the second the hand goes off the table and they take one step, by that afternoon, plan on your life changing forever.
Yeah. It's crazy what a moving target motherhood is. As soon as you think you have it figured out, the game has changed again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. My wife and I would always joke, with our kids when they were younger, when they were 16 months or so to 24 months, you get into this, little kind of moving target of, you try and stop your kid from killing themselves kind of sort of situation. There's a 10-foot drop. I'm just going to walk over there and dangle my head over it. Or there's some stairs and I'll do a little pirouette above the stairs. Or there's a cabinet door and let me swing my face by it. Things like that. So you're just constantly just on defense. So
yeah, that's exhausting mentally.
Best of luck. You can get yourself another cup of coffee.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So far, so good.
Nice. For everyone who's not familiar with Arielle, she's the co-owner of Texas Cob with her awesome partner and husband, Simon Gonzalez, natural builder, esteemed guest of season 1 of The Aggregate. And we coincidentally share a seasonal employee here named Michael Otten. 6 months he's in Texas, 6 months he's in Montana. And Arielle can attest he's a man of few words, but one subject that can get him talking is you, Arielle. He's a big fan. And in my small business interactions with you, you've been nothing but a class act. So not so slowly, I'm becoming a big fan. And I'm guessing that by the end of the chat, many listeners will also become big fans. So let's go back to your, as far as I can tell, unconventional story. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in West Texas in a town called San Angelo.
Got it. What sort of metropolitan area in West Texas is that near?
Oh, it is its own metropolitan area. West Texas is super spread out. So the next town would be, Austin, or to the west, El Paso. And there's a couple other like oil towns around, Midland and Odessa. But it's pretty far out there, and it was a pretty typical Texas upbringing, I'd say. You know, we went deer hunting. I was raised on deer meat. We went to rodeos. Rattlesnake roundups. Texas is full of cliches that are true.
Yeah. Well, as you know, my family, they live down there as well.
That's right.
And, cliches, the tumbleweed. I can feel the sand blowing in the air right now, and I can hear the going on.
Pretty much like that. Yeah.
Growing up, we were talking about, rattlesnake roundups and things like that. What were some of your pastimes that you did that weren't, impressed upon you? What were things that you really like to do?
I think my brother and I's favorite pastime was mud pies, which, now that I work in natural building, I see how akin it is to adobes and cob. It's basically the same thing. So just like reviving those childhood interests of mud pies and building forts. And I started sewing when I was little, and that was really my first love, my first craft. And in many ways, I find so many parallels between fashion or apparel construction and construction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big time. Big time. I mean, I would imagine it's a similar course of action for sure.
Mm-hmm. I always say it's materials and manufacturing and a little bit of math.
Yeah. The math is always an interesting thing. I was never really good at math growing up. And then one time I realized that if you put a dollar sign in front of it, it gets intricately more interesting.
Lot more interesting.
Yeah.
A lot more personal.
Yeah, it's like heavily consequential the second you put you're like, whoops. Yeah. How do we fix this math problem now? Did you do any activities in high school other than sewing? Any extracurricular stuff?
I played lacrosse. I was on the lacrosse team in high school, and I guess high school is where I really found myself in the counterculture movement. And I guess I'd always had this feeling that something wasn't right, or I was always just really pressing for the truth and testing boundaries. My whole childhood, I think, is defined by that. My parents probably could have also attested. And then high school, I was like, oh, there's more people like me. And I found my people. And, the shenanigans started from there, really. But yeah, that's where I would say a lot of my personality developed, and I realized that you don't have to accept the status quo, that there's another way, and that there's another subculture of people that are with you.
Mm-hmm. Big time. Yeah. Did you wear patchwork pants?
Oh yeah. I made all my clothes. I was definitely a hippie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go on fish tour or dead tour?
I was a deadhead, but not till a little bit later in life, because obviously I'm a millennial and I kind of missed the boat on the Jerry Garcia original version of the Grateful Dead. But
Yeah. I remember when I was younger, I was like 13. I was going to get in the car and go with my neighbors who were in high school. We were going to go see the Dead at some stadium in New York. And my parents were like, yeah, no, you're not doing that. Like that's just not happening. And I look back on it and I'm like, yeah, that was probably a wise call.
You may not be here today on the phone with us, Jeremy, had that happened. Who knows what path that could have, or maybe it would have taken you down the exact same path. I marvel at that all the time, all the danger I put myself in, and here I am, like a responsible adult.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You gotta kind of like, you gotta taste the danger a little bit before you realize that, like, maybe it's not as sweet as you think it is.
Yeah, and I think you're protected in your naivety as well in your 20s, and I try to remember that as a mother as well, that, you have to get out there and find yourself in the world and bump around a bit and get into trouble, and, the lucky ones emerge. Yeah,
you gotta make mistakes, and you gotta learn from them. Those are key. I constantly remind myself, I've definitely got some 20-something-year-olds that work for us, and I'm like, what are they doing? Why were they doing it? And I'm like, oh, yeah, yep, I did that. that. I remember when I thought I knew everything.
Yeah.
And now I only know like one or two things, but still more than they do. But I've learned recently to just like allow people the opportunity to fail.
And it's huge. It sounds kind of cliche, but a friend said it to me the other day. I was on the phone with her and I was talking about Simon, and she was like, just let him make mistakes. And he probably won't even make mistakes. We were talking about business and parenthood. And that's really been my mantra ever since, is just let him make mistakes. And it's been incredibly helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. As long as people are willing to learn from mistakes and then move on to bigger and better mistakes, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And patience with people and with ourselves. And just, I am definitely guilty of trying to micromanage, and control. I'm probably type A. It lends itself to this business and this industry. And it's how I got to this place of being so stringent about my values that I dedicated my entire life to it. So there's that, but you have to you have to know when to let it go and when to trust that you're in good hands and that, you can surrender a little bit.
Yeah. You can get like completely bogged down by the analysis paralysis of it all.
Yes.
That is one thing that I've realized as we've kind of like have this new chapter at New Age Artisans. I'm like, no, let's do this. I'm like, yeah, we're going to have to just let this bird fly, see where it goes. It's the way it goes. But you flew all the way to New York City from West Texas, right?
I did, by way of LA and San Francisco. I was in SF for 7 years before New York as well.
And you went to Fashion Institute of Technology, right?
I did.
Yeah. How did that churn itself into existence?
Well, they were offering, I don't think they offer it anymore post-COVID, but I was already working in the industry in New York, in fashion, and was thinking about starting my own line because I really didn't enjoy working in the industry and just being witness to the inefficiencies around sustainability and just the toxic work culture. And so I was already thinking about ways to, reinvent the wheel there. When FIT was offering this MBA program, called Design Entrepreneurs, and it was, a contest, essentially. You had to apply to get in. And they accepted 20 entrepreneurs, with the results of an MBA at the end. And it was a scholarship program. And so I got in, and it was a wonderful program. It really is what, I started a business before I'd ever written a business plan. And so it really made me go back to, the inner workings of everything and getting that down on paper. And that's how I organize our business now, from the beginning, but it wasn't always like that. And I learned a lot in that program about business plans and about, projections and using QuickBooks and all the things that you need to know to run a successful business. It's not going to drive you insane because you're not really in touch with every aspect of it.
Yeah. I've been, again, guilty of that as well. Like mistakes. I look back at some of the things I did when I was 20 something. I'm like, oh, this will be great. This will be easy. This is what we're going to do. But then you have all this business come in and you don't know how to manage it. Or at least I didn't know how to manage it. And it was just this like trial by fire situation. Mm-hmm. And I wish that I had some sort of formal training on it all.
Likewise, I appreciate that it wasn't linear in some ways, but I also look at things like, really, nobody thought it was important to teach me taxes or budgeting or, later on when I went off grid, like electrical. We're not teaching people the basics. And that's something that Simon and I are both passionate about, not just for our own children, but for other children as well. We want to, as far as the Realness Preserve goes, we want to offer these, what we call basic skills to kids before they get down the road and be like, why did nobody think it was important to teach me these things? How the world works, how you're going to need to, show up in it.
Definitely. Yeah. New York is, it's definitely a polar opposite from Texas and even San Francisco and LA. They're very different. And because I think that, I also wore patchwork pants and I was, went on tour with Fish. I'm going to guess that you have definitely a wild side to you. Mm-hmm. What do you think was the craziest thing you ever did in New York City?
Oh my God.
Because I know some of the craziest shit I ever did in New York City.
I guess it really depends on your definition of crazy. It could be taken a lot of ways.
I saw a story about you peeing in a boot at a Tom Petty concert the other day.
Oh yeah. That's there's just so many. It's hard to pick. I guess what people would probably consider most crazy is, so when I came to New York, I had already been, working with plant medicine for a couple of years in California. Mm-hmm. And then when I landed in New York, I was working in fashion, 9 to 5 every day for Alexander Wang in menswear design. And then on the weekends, I was organizing ayahuasca ceremonies and going upstate and drinking medicine, every weekend. And then and Monday morning, I'd show up to work and they'd be like, oh, what'd you do over the weekend? And I'd just be like, nothing. Meanwhile, I had catapulted to the center of the earth or to the outer rings of the universe.
Yeah.
That was maybe what people would think is most crazy, but there's definitely been other stories of, I don't know, just the things you see in New York, on a daily basis that you really become sort of immune to. COVID was a really crazy time too. Just being in New York during COVID, was wild and was ultimately what took me out. I tried to build a chicken coop in my backyard in Brooklyn and, I got shut down by the neighbors, who got the authorities involved. And that's when I was like, yeah, there's not enough space for me here anymore. I'm not going to be able to do what I want to do. I thought I could maybe have this hybrid life of living in the city and running my company and also being a homesteader in Brooklyn, but it didn't work out that way.
Yeah. What neighborhood in Brooklyn?
I was in Williamsburg.
Yeah. Too trendy over there in Williamsburg. They're like, no. Yeah. We like to pretend that we like chickens, but we don't really like chickens.
Right. We like organic free range chicken on my plate, but not in my neighbor's backyard.
Yeah. You needed to get into rescuing dogs or something.
Yeah. Crazy times, love New York. But I am also glad to, I call it the feather in my hat. I think anybody that's lived in New York or even just left, and made it in a big city, anywhere you go, you get to rely on that experience and it gives you this polish when you go to do anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're like, I survived.
Yeah. It's not easy. You have to be at the top of your game. Everybody has to be at the top of their game.
Oh, top of the game. Even I grew up 45 minutes away from there and I would go there a lot. And I'm quite familiar with landmarks and I'm quite familiar with, subway stops. But every time I go there, I have to kind of brush up. I'm like, is it Spring Street? Like are we getting Houston? Like, where are we getting off? Like, where's the closest place? And like, oh, no. The train shifted. Oh, no. They changed the schedule. And it's like, you can be totally on time and they get completely derailed.
Yes.
And derailed to a point where you're like, this just altered the entire course of my day.
Yeah.
Derailed.
Yeah.
Because I got on the wrong train and now I'm in Harlem.
Like, yeah, you're in the machine there, and I liked that about it. I liked being so close to the pulse and seeing the inner workings of the machine. I got a kick out of that for sure.
Yeah. How long were you there for?
I was there for 7 years.
7 years. Yeah, that's no short stint at all. Yeah. Did you do like a senior thesis of sorts there?
My MBA was just on my brand, so sustainable fashion, and so materials and manufacturing. I manufactured in New York, and I used as many domestic materials as possible. So really, just focusing on the supply chain, and then I segued into. They offered me a teaching position when I finished, which quickly became remote during COVID, but. It turned out to be such a blessing because I continue to teach remotely from Prairie Lea, Texas.
Yeah, that's cool.
At FIT in Manhattan.
Yeah. Are students in the classroom while you are teaching remotely?
No, they're at home.
They're at home.
It's a fully remote class for them as well.
Sure. And they know you're in Texas.
They do once, they see my background.
Yeah. What do you think, hard question to ask, probably a hard one to answer. What was life like, in quotation marks, when you got back to Texas after New York City? Yeah,
it kind of felt like long overdue. I had been wondering, when am I going to leave New York? And COVID was really the kicker. And so I had this vision before I left, clear as day, about living off grid, and about what my life was going to look like. And I just pointed myself in that direction. And I bought a truck off of Facebook Marketplace, my dream truck, a 95 F-150, teal and white, in Miami. So I drove to Miami in a rental car, picked up this truck, and drove to Texas. And I had no place to go. Like, I don't have any family left here. I didn't know where I was going. And so while I'm on the road in this 95 shift truck, I call this guy, Scott, that I met at a wedding the year earlier, who lives in Texas, in Llano. And I said, hey, I'm on my way to Texas. Could I come stay at your ranch for a couple of days? And he said, yeah, sure, come on over. So by the time I got there, and had spent a couple days in this little off-grid cabin on the back of his 300-acre ranch, I could see that he needed a lot of help. He had a ranch hand, but the gardens hadn't been planted in years. The horses were not being ridden. The eggs weren't being collected, etc. And so I said, hey, if you let me live in this little cabin, I will be your ranch hand for free. And that's the way that it went for the first 9 months of me living back in Texas. I just jumped from the fashion industry to being a ranch hand.
Yeah.
Off grid overnight.
Yeah. Back to your dead tour days. In-kind trade. I liked that.
Yeah. And it was amazing how muscle memory works. I hadn't ridden a horse since I was a kid, but I still knew exactly how to ride a horse. I had no fear around it, full confidence. And same with all the other stuff. I was like, I think my parents taught me, you know how to learn. And that was the most important thing that I ever learned, was that I knew how to learn, that I could go do anything because I could figure it out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Intrepid. Someone used that word the other day to me about Brianna, who works for us. She's our marketing gal. And they're like, she's intrepid. And I had to I was embarrassed. I had to look up what intrepid actually meant. Brave and fearless. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah,
you're lucky to have her on your team.
Oh, she's amazing. She's the best. She's the best. And it sounds like you are also intrepid.
Yes.
I love that.
So sometimes to a fault.
Yeah. Me too. My best qualities are sometimes my worst qualities. It's a dual-edged sword with me, for sure. It is. Yeah. When did you, I've got Simon's story because he's told me a couple times, but I want to hear your end of it. When did you meet Simon?
Yeah, so I had played with Cobb a little bit, with Sir Cobb's a lot with Miggy, before I got to Texas, and I knew that Cobb was a big part of my vision. I just didn't know anything else about how it was going to happen yet. I just knew that that was the right way. Like I said, I'd been working in materials as a career for my entire life, and had honed in on wool as the material. And I felt the same way about Cobb without knowing much more about it. I just knew it was the way. And so when I got to Texas and I was living off grid, I was cooking all my food over a campfire, and I really wanted an oven. I do a lot of cooking, a lot of baking. So I wanted to build a Cobb oven, but I didn't know how. And so I got in touch with Miggs, and he said, "You need to call Simon. He's the guy. He's the guy in Texas." And it took a few weeks for Simon to realize, like, oh yeah, I should go and do that. I think he started following me on Instagram and then was like, oh yeah, this chick is actually doing it. She's not just a tourist or whatever. And now I get why he didn't respond right away, because being on the admin side, on the receiving end of all these inquiries constantly, yeah, you can't take them all seriously.
Yeah.
But luckily he did take me seriously eventually, and he came out, and over the course of 3 weekends together, we built this magnificent Cobb oven in Llano, Texas. And over the course of that, we also, got to know each other. And the way he tells it, he fell in love immediately. And I think I did too. I immediately saw, like, this is a really special person, and definitely sparked something for me. But at the time, I was on my own journey to, I think, prove something to myself. I didn't want to just give it all away as far as like my agency or my skill goes to a man. I was like, I need to learn this stuff as a woman. I need to be off grid alone as a woman. There was some box I needed to check for myself. And I'm really glad that I did. And then later down the line, it dawned on me, like, oh yeah, I should take that seriously. That's the way. And then we hit the ground running from there. But yeah, we were friends. We started out friends first.
Got it. It's interesting. You mentioned, being on the admin side, and seeing, taking people seriously. Do you feel that, how does your natural clientele react to your professionalism?
I think it's such a great question. Some people really love and respect it. I think the other, like, people that are running big jobs, they want contracts. They realize contracts protect all parties involved. Good communication, good upfront communication protects everybody involved. It means the project's going to go smoother. And then there are other clients. It's really like, I found Cobb to be such a truth serum. The intention of that person is going to come out eventually. And if they're not going to sign the contract up front, or they don't want to pay a deposit, or they're arguing us about, they want to trade for exposure, or whatever the thing is, it's not going to go well later down the line during the actual job. And so it can be a mixed bag. We have amazing clientele, and then we've definitely had some horror stories as well, in our first year of business together last year, that really solidified the truth that we have to have boundaries, because you just can't trust everybody. I think Simon and I both are, we're optimists, and we are, community members, and we always operate in integrity, and we do what we say we're going to do, but that's not everybody. And I think we've both had to learn the hard way here that, you just can't take everybody for their word. We got burned seriously 3 times last year, to the point that it was like, okay, do you hear, like, boundaries, contracts? We have to have these things in place. Becoming a mother really solidified that for me as well. Like, it's not just about us anymore. And the ways that I couldn't stand up for myself before, I have no problem doing so now, because I'm operating from a different place.
Yeah, definitely, without question. And people kind of look at me sometimes when I say things, and I'm like, look, I had this conversation with somebody last week, an employee, actually. He's a very, very, very valued employee. He's fantastic. But we had a disagreement on something. And I said, look, I just need you to know, like, I'm protecting someone that no one else will protect. And it's not so much someone, but it's something. It's new age artisans. No one's going to protect it. And people just take because they think it's this well. And if I don't protect it, I might as well just be trying to kill it myself.
Exactly. And you're doing it for your employees. You're doing it for the industry. If you don't protect your little pocket of the industry, then it's just becomes a game of dominoes and everything falls. So by protecting Texas Cobb, we're also protecting the natural building industry, and not just protecting it, but helping it grow and giving it this different reputation. It doesn't become just this thing that's tucked in the woods where only hippies do, but it's this thing that anybody can apply to their homes. Everybody should be applying healthy construction techniques to their homes, not just hippies.
Yeah.
And if we don't get it out of that realm, out of that reputation of it's this super crunchy hippie thing that only, that looks like hobbits do it, then we're never going to grow, and we're never going to actually address some of these things that are plaguing our world, like toxic mold syndrome and landfill crisis and climate crisis. And, we're just trying to chip away at our own little piece of the puzzle here. And that does start with us having boundaries with clients.
Mm-hmm. Without question. And then, what I've learned too, more than anything, is almost boundaries with myself. Like, I want so badly to do something, and I have to have this discipline to just tell myself, like, no, you cannot do that. As much as you want to do that, you need to have these boundaries. And I have these little internal conversations. And I've almost coached myself to almost do the exact opposite of what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it seems to work, which is really weird, but it's where I've gotten.
It's not our nature, right?
Yeah.
We didn't get into this because we wanted to be like cutthroat gatekeepers. We got into this because we love it, and we are hippies deep down. But if we operate in that way, you have, and that's all about, how personal growth and the growth of your business are absolutely intertwined. And, especially when it's a family business, everything has to be in line. If there's any chinks, it's going to show.
Yeah. And what I've learned too is, a giver will give and they won't stop giving. And a taker will not stop taking until everything's gone. And just people, it's nothing against the takers. Really is nothing against them.
It's their nature too.
Yeah, it's their nature too. And we just have to find a way to live in this balance, this equilibrium.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. You have a tremendous following on social media, and we like to put some questions out there to the world. And we have our guests, kind of throw out the frisbee, and you threw it out there. And I looked at all the questions that you got, and I thought, oh, these are really good. These are really good. These are really good. But one of them really stood out to you. And I'm going to butcher this handle. Megan June. She wanted to know what the most satisfying thing is breaking away from status quo's approach to building in consumer culture.
The most satisfying thing. It's when you reach this point that you didn't even know maybe that you were aiming towards, where it's just all one thing. And I know for myself personally, and I feel it in others as well, there's this disconnection that's exhausting. It reads as fatigue in your life, where you have these different compartments where you go to work, and that's separate from your home life, and that's separate from, then you go to the gym, and it's all these pockets that you have to keep separate from each other. And when you break away and you just make everything one thing, there's this deep satisfaction and relief. You don't feel like you're running anymore from anything. You don't feel like you have to hide anything. Everything just fits into your life. It's like a deep breath. And it took me a long time to figure out, to get to this place to feel like, oh yes, now my life is all one thing. When I wake up in the morning, it's just one big circle, and then I circle back at the end of the night, and it all fits in this container.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You're a circle moving, in this poignant direction, which I love.
And the relationship is inside of that, the way we parent, the way we run our business, what we're building. There's nothing that's outside of that. And that's where this deep satisfaction comes in. And, that's only achievable by really, sticking to your values and truly sacrificing everything, in order to live this way.
Yeah, without question. Yeah, it's definitely, it's an intentional practice. And there's a lot of sacrifice and discipline that needs to exist to be able to function at this capacity. Let's take a quick break. And then when we return, I want to kind of get into the intricacies of Texas Cobb as well as the Realness Preserve.
Great.
The secrets of plaster. So many recipes, techniques, and applications. Its diverse definitions and coveted concoctions have confused many a modern applicator. And thanks to the possessive powers of the internet, there's even more information that mystifies the waters of comprehension. Enchanted by Google Images, hungry homeowners, architects, applicators, and designers search the tangled web, patching together some sense of structure to create textured walls, polish elements, abstract art, and relief pieces. What if the journey to success wasn't so challenging? What if all the inspiring information was integrated onto one canvas? Your wait is over. We are collecting years of practice, technique, and art into one hub, the Plaster Portal. With our streamlined system and contemporary interface, the portal protects these processes and offers applicators around the planet the opportunity of discovery, directly from the masters who preserve them. And we'd like you to be part of this communal movement. So become a member today. With affordable fee of just $75, you'll become a baseline member, which provides purchasing access to New Age Artisan plaster blends, as well as hand-picked content full of tips, tricks, and time-saving strategies that you can't get anywhere else. You also acquire access to our Prominent Artist Series courses, celebrating both specialty plaster finishes and industry professionals from around the world who are proud to share their time-tested practices. With the strength of our membership, we can encourage the celebration of these trades, discover new and valuable skills, and conserve the arts. Head to newageartisans.com and click the Plaster Portal link. Sign up is fast and easy. We can't wait to have you as part of our community. Before we get back to the show, here's a guest from Season 1 with a quick hello.
Hey, this is Joey from Venosa Interiors out of Montreal, Canada. Welcome back to The Aggregate.
All right, we're back, everybody. Thanks so much, Joey D. Venosa. Hope you're doing well in Quebec, continuing to foster those amazing relationships that are getting your plaster spec'd in all of the high rises of Montreal. The guy's amazing. I talk to him a couple times a month. Such a good dude. Do you know Joey D. Venosa, Arielle?
No, I don't.
He is easily one of Canada's finest veneer plaster installers, and he does a lot of lime veneers and micro topping, and he's just such a good dude. Such a good dude.
Cool.
He really, really cares about.
I bet Simon knows him.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, there seem to be probably kindred spirits. He does all these lime veneers and micros. What sort of plasters do you guys do over there at Texas Cobb?
We are very much focused on lime plaster. And most of our clients are earthen builders. So we work with CEBs a lot, Adobe, some hempcrete, cob, little bit of straw bale. So really like heavy duty, lime plaster.
Mm-hmm. You were mentioning that you had some experience with cob before. What you met Simon. What, did you have any other experiences with veneers?
No, I had never, I had never worked with plaster before I met Simon.
Awesome. You guys manufacture plaster too.
We do. Yeah. It's pretty, we're really only focused on local, because as you know, shipping plaster is super heavy. So we're really just making, manufacturing for like our local, environment and obviously for all our own jobs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's how we started too. That was kind of the impetus of it was, how do we supply our own needs? And then, the fact that other people wanted to get out there and use it, really, really makes us smile. But yeah, holy buckets, the shipping cost and the freight cost and everything that goes into it. We're trying our damnedest to, offset it with the recycled bag program that we have, which is really cool. And actually, when I was talking to Simon, he was like, oh, it'd be sweet to do like a bag passport program where people sign the bags and then this bag's been all over the place.
Totally.
And that's what's happening now. People are just signing the back of the bags and sending them back. And
that's
it's
amazing.
Just really, really cool. Yeah, we've got signatures from Spain. We've got signatures from the UK, Brazil. Somebody just sent one the other day and was like, oh, yeah, here we are in Santa Fe, and they signed the back of the bag. It was just like, all right, this is awesome.
That's amazing.
So you can tell Simon he created it.
Okay.
Yeah. And your guys' bags are all compostable, right?
Yeah. My jam is plastic free. So I've been plastic free for almost a decade. And Simon jumped on board. He was already well on his way. I would say when we met, and he had no problem going the distance. And so yeah, that extends to all of our business practices as well.
Yeah. Anytime my wife sees me with a water bottle that, was maybe purchased at a gas station of sorts, that is the one thing that will get her to just berate me.
She does it because she loves you, Jeremy.
I know.
She doesn't want microplastics in you.
She doesn't want microplastics in me. And she's like, that is the world's easiest thing that you can do.
It's true.
This is a water bottle. We have 7 of them. They have a Yeti logo on them.
Yeah.
You can say so much out in the world with your Yeti. Why don't you fill it up with water as opposed to doing the easy thing and going into the Quickie Mart for a gas station water bottle?
I have to say, she's right.
Oh, yeah. No, she's right about most things. She's right about most things. It's really annoying. We were talking earlier before the break about your social media, and it's really fun to see you're constantly sharing everything that you're doing. And your followers just they lap it up, which is really, really cool. What do you think? What's your most favorite topic to share?
Lately it's been very motherhood centric because that's what my days look like. And I love sharing what is, my day and what it looks like and what I'm making. Really, it started launching when I first went off grid, because I was all alone out in the woods and had to figure out, first how to set up solar. And then I got a Starlink, and then I took to social media, and it really took off at that point. And I called it my Wilson. It was like my only window to the world where I could communicate, especially after living in big cities for so long. And I've really found like my community there, my global community. And now that I'm a mother, it's switched away, from off-grid living for the moment to how I navigate motherhood as, someone who's very concerned about sustainability and wellness. And I guess I share a lot about cooking right now. And also cloth diapering. I feel so passionate about cloth diapering as much as I do about Cobb and Adobe, because I just can't believe that nobody else is doing it. I cannot believe that it's not the default.
Yeah, we did it.
It just baffles me because it's a no-brainer. And I think similar to cast iron, it's been branded as like, oh, it's hard, it's intimidating. But I just call all that propaganda. That's big diaper propaganda, and that's Teflon propaganda. Yeah. The truth is, it is so easy. You'll save so much money. It's so accessible as long as you have a washing machine. And it's non-toxic. You don't, want those nasty chemicals on your baby's bottom. So, really big into sharing about that and just trying to normalize it, I guess. Like, hey, look how easy this is. I run a company and, do all these other things and I still can cloth diaper, like with my eyes closed. So just trying to normalize living sustainably, making all our food from scratch and just being in the flow of a day, with these as your values.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember the cloth diaper thing being a little intimidated by it at first, but then, my wife was like, no, we're doing this. We're doing this. And it was like, and we went for like the trendy Grovia ones. I'm not sure what you use, or you probably made them yourself, I'm sure, because you're such a badass. But we just spent, I think it was like a $300 initial investment. And we had the little spray thing on the toilet and a little spatula. And it became so quick and easy that it was just like, it was just like a comma in a sentence,
Yeah.
Just a quick little pause, and then you're on to the next thing. And then we cycled through both children. And then by the time we were done, I think we like gave them to someone else for like a pair of skis or something,
They continue to live on. You can see them on Facebook Marketplace. They've already been used by 3 kids and they still have value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's a no-brainer. So for all you listeners out there, get yourself some cloth diapers and follow Arielle because she can set you up with the goods.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking earlier about being a mother, and, maternal instincts are very different than paternal instincts. And I remember exactly where I was, where the way that I saw the world change. I remember walking down the alley thinking about what I wanted to do that afternoon. And then I thought, no, you can't do that, because you're about to have a child. And then I went from kind of loathing responsibility to all of a sudden, like, looking at life through a completely different lens. And like life went from black to white at that particular moment. What do you think? How do you think being a mom has changed your view?
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot for me. I've been very humbled by this role, and just like this instant empathy for parents and specifically mothers. I just look around now and when I was in birth, I just kept telling my midwife, like, there's no way that this is the way that we all got here. And she just kept saying, like, this is the way. And I still look around the world and I'm like, holy shit, like, women are fucking superheroes and we just completely take it for granted. And I also accept that's part of the role, that you're not going to get, you may never get a thank you for this thing that you pour your body and soul and heart into. You don't know how it's going to turn out. And you may never get, the accolades or whatever that, that you wish somebody would acknowledge you for. And that's just intrinsic to the role, I have decided. And so just like constantly making peace with that. But I would say the main way it's changed me as a person is just the, unquestionable way that it immediately launched me, from pregnancy into the feminine. I think I had been operating, in the masculine for much of my life. I've been on my own since I, was 18 and, never had a home to go back to, never had, like a sugar daddy that was paying my rent, never had, I had support, but it was peers. I didn't have any elders in my life. And so I think for a lot of my life, I've been operating in the masculine. Like I had to teach myself carpentry when I went off grid and to do all these things. I've always been a doer and always had to do it myself. And the second I became pregnant, it was like, well, I can't do that anymore. And especially once the baby came and just softening and surrendering and trusting. And luckily, I'm with a partner that's trustworthy, especially as far as the way that like when I send him to the job site or when he's building our school, I know he's going to make the same decisions that I would. And that is an incredible source of comfort and peace for me, that I can let go of control and I can just be in my feminine. And I think I've swung pretty hard too. I've become like semi-trad wife where I just don't even leave the house for weeks on end. And I'm just like constantly cooking and sewing and, very much in my feminine right now. And that is totally new to me. And I'm really relishing the experience of it all.
Wow. I have not ever heard it explained like that. And I love that. That is so cool. That is so cool. And I love the fact that you mentioned that, you and Simon are, aligned, and not to be cliche, but, you're family and, maybe someday you guys might have the minivan. Who knows? But like you gave him the keys to the minivan and you trust him to not go out there and crash it while he's, driving, listening to Merle Haggard.
Yeah, I've sworn we're never going to get a minivan, but that usually means it's going to come if I said it's never going to happen.
Yeah, my friend Whitney told me once, she said, you don't choose the minivan. The minivan chooses you.
I can see that it's a thing for sure. The automatic doors, I can see it's a thing.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Astro vans, so if you get one, you should get an Astro van.
Got it.
2005 Astro van, all-wheel drive.
Okay. Okay.
This world we're in, we're about to come up on an election here next week, and who knows what's going to happen. Tumultuous, to say the least. What do you think about, what are your feelings on our trajectory, where we're going?
I really can't speak to the mainstream because I don't understand it. It's like saying, like, how can someone be a serial killer? I just can't understand what's going on out there. And I used to be very politically involved. I was an activist. I was a lobbyist, a climate lobbyist for years. I went to DC for the fashion industry and lobbied for regulation within the fashion industry. And, it really didn't get us anywhere. I just was witness to all the bureaucratic red tape, and all the ways that it's just pay to play and everybody just puts their people in positions of power and uses all the budget for anything good on just, getting their people in and paying these bloated, salaries. Anyway, I digress, but I just don't know, Jeremy. And that's why we live out in the middle of nowhere and just do our own thing because, I've already tried to fix the world from New York or from DC, and like played defense, I guess. And it wasn't satisfying. It wasn't effective. It just kind of drove me crazy. And I feel like it can be a waste of energy also. And so we just broke away and decided to create the world that we want to see. And in some ways that, may sound privileged, but I can tell you it's not been easy. We have to work, for as many days as we need the money to build our own world. We have to go out into the world and work. So it's very much like we break even at the end of every day.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because I know that it drives me crazy what's going on in the world and what else can we do but everything that we can do. And I already know we're doing everything that we can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think it's privileged. I mean, you've already taken your stab at
Mm-hmm.
activism and trying to change it. And I think what you've gained is perspective. And what you're also doing is you are becoming the change that you want to see in the world. And that, to me, is what it's all about. That's what I realized a few years ago. It's like, well, if I'm sitting there in a whole room full of idiots and I'm telling all these people, you're an idiot, you're an idiot, you're an idiot, you're an idiot, at what point in time do I become the idiot for sitting in the room with these people?
Right.
And that was like a big moment while I was brushing my teeth where I had to look in the mirror and be like, holy shit, dude. You are a walking hypocrisy. Figure it out. And I figured it out. Or I'm figuring it out, I guess I should say. No, we haven't all figured it out. But one of these movements that you've made, I mean, you went to the world and tried to change it, and you've kind of have this like field of dreams mentality. If you build it, they will come. And you're in the process of building something that I think is really, really cool, called the Realness Preserve. Can you tell us a little bit about that, or a lot about that, please?
Sure, yeah. It was born when I was off grid alone, and I built my own little homestead and powered off solar and wind, and was drinking out sanitized water out of the creek, and just really was tapping into just my feet on the ground. And I think that's what I was craving during COVID. And after living in cities for so long, is what is real. Because if you are tapped into the media or whatever, and with as fast as our world moves these days, it's hard to know what's real. And I think that equates to a lot of like imposter syndrome and anxiety and depression in the world, where we just don't know where we fit in anymore. We just feel like we're born into the factory settings, and we just, it's really hard to break away. And so, the name just kind of came to me when I was, carrying water one day. And, I think it initially was going to be a placeholder, but it just kind of stayed because that's what it is. We're preserving realness. We're keeping it real. And that can mean a lot of different things. It doesn't just mean feet on the earth, hands in the mud. It is also cloth diapering. It is also knowing your supply chain. It is also community. It's the ways that we are creating a network of people that are, look what's happening in Ashland right now. And it's happening all around us. And community is the thing that makes you survive. It is a survival technique. And so it does feel real, everything that we're doing. And I don't describe myself as a prepper, or a conspiracy theorist, or, I don't use the word apocalypse. But who knows, whatever this thing is that's happening in our world that's creating a lot of upheaval, we just want to be ready for that. And I feel in my body that I want to be ready for that. And that's what gives me comfort. That's what takes my anxiety away. That's what empowers me. And ultimately what makes me connect back to my community with, hey, look, I'm learning this thing. You can too. And so the education part of it is really important too. It's not about, surviving from one another. It's about surviving with one another.
That's
it's not
beautiful.
A competition. It's a collaboration.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And that is 100% the way that I'm trying to live my life. And just, as I was mentioning before, just this crazy paradigm shift where my mind went, and it just became not about competition anymore. It became all about collaboration. And some of these people that are living here locally, that some people would think like, oh, this person is now, they're your competition. And I'm like, no, they're my collaborators, and now they're customers. And that is what has really, really changed everything for me of it all. How, if you were to describe like what a typical day when you close your eyes and you think about what would a curriculum look like inside the Realness Preserve for a student?
I think when we run workshops, it is a holistic thing. It's an immersive experience. And I think that is the style of the Realness Preserve. It is immersive. So we wake up and we make dough while we're drinking coffee, cooked over the fire, and we thaw the meat out. That's going to be the dinner that night. And then, we get ready for the day and make sure we have everything we need, all our tools. We pack our own lunch. We pack our own water, our own kombucha, whatever we need. And then we hit the job. And for me these days, it really, I only last on the job site for a few hours wearing the baby on my back. But if it's for a workshop and whatever we're doing, then it's a full day. It's pretty much, 7 to 3 in the summer, 8 to 4 in the winter. We're building all day, and then we come home and we prepare the dough that we made that morning for dinner that night, and we pull out our ferments and, whatever else is in the flow of that day. And I think in this lifestyle, you don't have to think ahead more than one day, really, because the task of the day will present itself to you. The challenges of the day, like if an animal got out or whatever, like that's what you're going to do that day. And I like the aliveness of, living off the land for that reason. But yeah, I think it's a flow. I think it's a flow state. And then when we have time, maybe we're like, oh, well, we're going to make some merino wool underwear now because everybody's underwear has holes in it. Or now it's time to, we have a minute, so we're going to work on the business plan, or we're going to work on opening, we're going to work on the nonprofit, or we're going to work on some other aspect of what it is that we're doing, because it is very holistic and there's a lot to learn. Or we're going to film a course for the Patreon. I think that it would be flow state.
Flow state. I love flow state. I'm a big fan of it. Is there one structure, one schoolhouse that's going to exist, or are there multiple ones?
There's one schoolhouse. We're currently building a multi-use space that will have a classroom, a tiny, a show home, basically, where we're showcasing all of the, everything that we can do and what it looks like and what it feels like. That's 500 square feet and another 500 square feet classroom, and then 1,000 square feet of workshop. And then the Adobe yard is out back. And then we're building really a whole village around that. So it's, we want to be as self-sufficient as possible as far as what we're able to supply ourselves and how people can plug into what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very similar kind of to our last guest, Nick Donati with Rancho Mastatal in Costa Rica.
Oh, we are such huge fans of them. They are like one of the few examples of doing it right. And it's been tested by time. The way that they really approach community and the way that they employ people and take care of their people is huge, because you see a lot of these eco villages fail because they use people. And that is not what Rancho Mastatal is doing. They actually care about their people, and you can tell because they're still around. We're just huge fans of their work.
Yeah. He was really, really enjoyable. I of course I see this stuff on the internet and I think like, oh, that's cool. But like to really like talk to them and kind of dig deep and see what they're all about. I mean, you can just feel and hear the passion of what they're into. And like you, they've also gained a tremendous amount of perspective by living these other lives before they kind of retreated to the Costa Rican jungle, which is really cool. Kindred spirits, for sure.
I love that. I can't wait to listen.
Yeah, he's a really cool guy. How long has the Realness Preserve been in existence? And then you mentioned that you are a nonprofit 501c3. What was the process of creating that 501c3?
It was fairly simple, fairly straightforward. We met the requirements as far as education goes, even just online. My Instagram is a source of education. And then the ways that we teach workshops. And at the time when I opened the 501c3, the Realness Preserve, we were on different land. And we were also hosting workshops and educational opportunities there. So I was able to register as an educational nonprofit without issue. It was actually very simple. And I haven't done a lot with it yet. I need to learn how to write grants, essentially, to really maximize the nonprofit. It's only about a year and a half old right now. And it kind of went dormant a little bit when we started Texas Cobb, because we needed a for-profit to, feed the nonprofit. But now the way that I've structured it is everything's in a trust, and the nonprofit actually, the Realness Preserve owns Texas Cobb. So the nonprofit owns the LLC.
Excellent. I'm sure that there's a, tax. Somebody told me about, bookkeeping and accounting. They're like, it is not a science. It's an art. And don't hate the player, hate the game. These are rules that we have to kind of play by.
Yeah.
Because I've learned if you don't pay taxes, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's cool. That is super cool to know that, there's kind of this, hierarchy of the business structure.
Yeah. And they're reciprocal. They all feed each other. Yeah, the lines can be blurred a little bit as far as what's what, because it does all feel like one thing, but having the separate legal entities is beneficial for us and does kind of help provide clarity to our vision as well.
Yeah. What do the structures look like currently that you're building?
So we inherited land from Simon's grandfather that has been used as a dump for like the last 2 decades. It's 5 acres, and I really resisted this land, since I knew Simon. I was like, that is not going to be our land, because I hate trash more than probably anybody you'll ever meet. I've dedicated my life to not creating trash. And then we inherit a literal landfill. So the irony is not lost on me. But at some point, after Ansel was born, he was about 3 months old, and I think I must have gotten a good night's sleep. I was like, let's do it. That's going to be our land. Nobody else is giving us any land, where it's going to take us 10 years to be able to afford 5 acres. So let's just do it. And he literally got up that day and was like, okay, I'm going to go start cleaning up. And that's one of the things I love so much about Simon. He does not wait for like the perfect conditions. He is so scrappy. He got out there with his hands, and then we hired a couple guys to help, and then we got a tractor, and then we got a dumpster and a metal recycling and all the things. And long story short, it's taken 3 months and 15 grand just to start to get this place cleaned up.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a real like rags to riches story as far as the land goes. It's truly a land regeneration project. And so just cleaning it up has been phase 1. And then we're currently building our outhouse, which is how we always like to initiate the land, is with an outhouse, because you can't really ask people to come out if you don't have a nice place for them to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been our project right now. And then we run Dirt Church every Sunday, which is a free Adobe workshop. And so people come from mainly Austin and San Antonio to come and learn how to make Adobes. And then Simon also shows them how to lay them as we go. So the entire outhouse has really been a community project, which has really solidified our vision. Like, oh yeah, there's definitely people that want to be a part of this and want to learn. And we found our community this way. And now we're working on the multi-use space and re-erecting the teepee where we lived when we were first in love.
Wow. The love shack going back up.
Yeah. Going back up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is cool. That is cool. And I'm going to assume that, all the facades are going to have, interior and exterior are going to have earthside plaster on them.
Oh yeah. Everything will be, and I think we'll run a lot of it as workshops too. So, we're doing big overhangs on our roofs so that we don't have to plaster the outsides right away. And then we'll run them as, plaster workshops when we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have a total budget for this?
Everything that we have, everything that we make.
How much money? All of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it is exactly what it is going to cost.
Yeah.
And as the bookkeeper of this operation, like I lost sleep for enough nights that I was forced to surrender and not worry about it as much, because I couldn't live with that level of anxiety and stress anymore. And so now I'm kind of just like, well, again, we're doing everything we can. We're working as much as we can and building as much as we can. And if the bank account is always breaking even, at least we're like, it's not stagnant. It's still flowing. And so, yeah, it's definitely a bootstrapping kind of situation. We don't have any investors. We don't have any grants. We don't have any loans. And it's not to say that we wouldn't want any of those things, but I've tried pretty hard to, to knock on the doors, and nothing has come from it yet. So all I can take that to mean is like, well, we're just going to keep bootstrapping.
Yeah. Yeah. You just if you want something done right, do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At least we don't owe anybody anything except American Express.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you only owe that to them for like 30 days, and then hopefully you're paying them back within those 30 days, because they're not they're super nice. All the creditors are really nice for the first 30 days. They're like, oh, here's some money, just give it back. But then the second you don't give it back, they're like, wow, this relationship just changed.
Yeah.
What about all of the past 15 years where I paid all my bills on time? They're like, what are you talking about? No, this is what you lost now.
This is now. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, exactly. If somebody wanted to donate to your cause, how would they go about that?
We have a GoFundMe for the Realness Preserve, and all of those donations are tax deductible. And you can find that in my Instagram bio or Simon's, or if you just go on GoFundMe, and type in the Realness Preserve, you'll find us there. We also do have a pitch deck where we're trying to secure a loan of $50,000 to basically get our multi-use space built with traditional terms and everything, interest rates. Trying to find an aligned partnership for that. If anybody knows anybody, or if anybody knows anything, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Wink, wink, nod, nod. Anyone listening?
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll share that with us, and then we'll turn around and plaster it all over the place. No pun intended. Sure. So we can get get the awareness out for this awesome cause.
And always just plaster jobs too, natural building jobs. If anybody's been on the fence about lime washing their house or whatever, go ahead. Anytime you support a small business, you're also helping us build this. Yeah.
And you're taking the money and you're dumping it back into something that is more cyclical, and completing the circle.
Exactly.
Building your field of dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Our field
help
of dreams.
The economy.
Exactly. Yes. Circular economy. I love that. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today. I know that you're probably off to a litany of other things, so we will let you go, but we look forward to watching you move forward in the direction that you're going, and it's very inspirational. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Thank you for sharing my story, our story, and for being such an awesome player in this industry as well. We really look up to you and everything that you're doing with New Age Artisans. You're, just a real kindred spirit, the way that you run your business and share these stories on your podcast. We love what you're doing too, and are honored and happy to be a part of your community.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And I'm a pretty selfish person, so I can tell you that the pleasure is all mine. I just love to do it. So thank you, I should say. And, have a great day, and, we'll talk real soon.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks again for listening, everybody. Don't forget to tune in next as we head to Europe and link up with Dutch-born Ilke Jamble. Although his formal business is in wood flooring, his true passions are textures around the world. Through the lens of his camera, he constantly captures plaster walls, eloquent lighting, and images that tell tranquil and inviting stories from his eclectic travels. We're looking forward to chatting home remodels, high-end sales, and stucco facade overhauls. Until next time, cheers!